Madam President, I rise to discuss helping our service members exposed to toxic burn pits. Let me tell you about U.S. Army Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson. He was a strong, healthy, fit combat medic who served tours in Kosovo and Iraq.
Some economists suggest putting more attention toward fixing road infrastructure, like potholes. Now, JP Morgan analysts have already predicted the price of gas could top $6 this summer. Gas prices tend to be higher in the warmer months due to more Americans hitting the road for their vacations. Summer blend fuel is also more costly to produce since it takes longer and yields less gas per barrel of oil compared to the winter blend fuel. Folks, what do you think President Biden is going to do about the fourth stimulus check? Do you think he's holding it back? Tell me your thoughts on this. There are new changes that have been proposed to Social Security. Some lawmakers have said that this proposed bill may negatively impact many low earners in the Social Security program. So watch to the end, everybody. There have been many discussions recently on Social Security in Congress. The Senate Finance Committee unanimously approved a series of proposals that make full congressional passage of a retirement improvement package more likely this year. The measure is called the Enhancing American Retirement Now Act, or the EARN Act. It contains some provisions that are same as or similar to those proposed in the House, which passed the Securing a Strong Retirement Act in a bipartisan 414-5 vote. Known as Secure Act 2.0, the bill is intended to build upon the original Secure Act of 2019, which ushered in changes aimed at increasing retirement security by increasing access to workplace savings plans, among other efforts. Chairman Ron Wyden, Finance Committee Chairman, told his colleagues, this act includes more than 70 proposals aimed at helping Americans save more money, the culmination of months of collaboration between just about every member of the committee, Democrats and Republicans. Together, everybody, the bill and the Senate's are the Senate's version of Secure 2.0. Many provisions on the Senate side are the same as what cleared in the House, including one to make it easier for employers to make contributions to 401k and similar workplace plans on behalf of employees who are making student loan payments instead of contributing to the retirement plan. Other similarities between the two chambers' proposals include allowing older workers to save more through what's called the catch-up contributions, and raising their age when savers can begin and must begin taking required minimum distributions from their retirement accounts. But the differences between these two chambers' proposals will need to be worked out before the full congressional approval could occur. Lawmakers said during the committee hearing that they are in conversation with their peers in the House to reach an agreement on the final version. Now, more than 236,000 Oregon families will each start to receive a $600 check this week under new state law that aim to aid low-income workers. Direct deposit or paper checks are going to people who lived in Oregon for the last 6 months of 2020. A tax break for low-income workers on their 2020 taxes as well. Single people who claim the credit earn less than $16,000, while married couples with 3 more children earn less than $57,000. More than 136,000 Oregon taxpayers will see the $600 deposited into their bank accounts before July 1st. Well, more than 99,000 more will find paper checks in their mailboxes over the coming days.
Mr. Speaker, this will be the fifth consecutive 2-year authorization of the Water Resources Development Act since 2014, tradition revived by our former chair, Bill Schuster. And I'm grateful for the partnership of Sam Graves, the subcommittee the committee ranking member, subcommittee Grace Napolitano, chair, and subcommittee ranking member Dave Rouser for all their work in developing this historic Water Resources Development Act. This legislation builds on the successes of previous worded bills, moving projects from feasibility to construction. 2-year cycle is critical to addressing future water resource needs of our nation. It authorizes construction of 18 reports of the Chief of Engineers who studied and transmitted to Congress since the last worded bill signed into law. These chief's reports represent thoroughly vetted, locally driven projects, highly engaged cost-share partners. Core projects cover a myriad of purposes: navigation, flood control, levees, ecosystem restoration that will benefit communities all across the United States of America. The bill also authorizes 72 new feasibility studies and direct the Corps to expedite the completion of 14 ongoing studies. It is critical that we keep our infrastructure in this nation up to date with new challenges, with severe weather events, sea level rise, and other things, and deal with the challenges that communities across this country endure. For 2 decades, I spent 2 decades, actually started longer than that, Bud Schuster, 96, trying to free up the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund. That is a tax paid by shippers, which ultimately is passed on to consumers on the value of imported goods, which have been impounded for years, totaling nearly $10 billion, where our harbors needed dredging, jetties need rebuilding. We finally got that done in 2020. That was historic. It gives the Corps more resources on the harbor side, which means they can devote a little more of their allocation to the inland waterways and to their other 40-some-odd billion dollars of backlog of critical projects across the country. It will meet the challenge of climate change and by rebuilding these navigation jetties and breakwaters to new heights, dimensions necessary for sea level rise, extreme weather, study the impacts of coastal storms on inland flooding, particular concern of the ranking member, address future water supplies in the arid West, particular concern of, well, all of us in the West, but particularly those further south, and the chair of the subcommittee. 21st century challenges should have 21st century solutions. The Corps has been hamstrung in their ability. We've worked with other members, have heard similar concerns. We included a solution in this bill to allow the Corps to be the innovation export they need to be to address our nation's ongoing new challenges. I'm also proud it will continue building upon efforts to provide equitable project outcomes, flexibility communities with affordability concerns. It will address the needs of economically disadvantaged, minority, rural, tribal communities in an affordable manner. In particular, the bill creates a tribal liaison position within each Corps office. The Corps often fails to consult meaningfully with the tribes. Tribal leaders will have a direct line of communication now into the regional office.
The lady from Florida, Ms. Murphy, to inquire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Secretary Yellen. I introduced a bill this morning requiring the Treasury Department to report to Congress on the impact that recent U.S. tariff increases are having on inflation. You know, these tariffs were imposed by the Trump administration and have largely been retained by the Biden administration. And they include the Section 232 tariffs that some of my colleagues have already mentioned, Section 301 tariffs on a lot of products from China. And then there was also the expiration of GSP, which allows certain products from many low-income countries to enter the U.S. tariff-free. But when the program expired, tariffs went up on all of those products too. My bill would basically require Treasury to examine the inflationary impact of these tariff increases individually and in the aggregate. And I know I don't have to tell you this. You know that tariffs are the equivalent